Dolan finds several of these uncovered manholes, but they lead no further than 7 feet down. So he returns to check on me and the GPR team, and we are getting compelling readings.
We did a number of passes right around this area here, and down about 10 feet or so, looks like we're getting the surface of something interesting.
But you're also seeing it's rather flat.
Mm-hmm. It does have a nice flat surface to it. So, given this area here, the topography of this hill, how it slopes down, if something was flat, it might be more evidence that it could be, more man-made.
In other words, it appeared that it could be a roof of something that even went below.
Sure, could be the top of top of an underground chamber. It's the most compelling evidence.
Well, it's about par for the Montauk mystery because it gives us a little bit of something, but not enough to really say yes.
But here's the deal: it's about 10 feet below us, and if there are 9 levels, apparently we would only see the top level.
That's correct. Yeah.
So there's no way of knowing what would be beyond that.
What the GPR technology has uncovered may be just a first step to determining if there's anything underground. But without the park's permission to start drilling, there's no way to be certain. But that doesn't mean our investigation ends here. We still have one more place to look for proof of underground facilities in the area.
The tunnel systems that exist under the town of Montauk and Montauk Manor still exist. These locations have tunnel systems that go towards the Montauk base.
We've come to the Montauk Manor, an old hotel built in 1927, to see if we can find these supposed underground tunnels and whether they lead to Camp Hero 5 miles away.
So what is this place?
These are the access tunnels, like the foundation of the Montauk Manor, and building 27. And the tunnels go for quite a ways.
Jimmy Hackett works at the manor and has been exploring these tunnels for decades.
Have you gone through the whole route of this?
I've gone through a big portion of it, but there's still some unexplored sections back there that I haven't been through.
Have you ever explored Camp Hero?
Yeah, I did. Actually, when we were younger, we played up there while it was actually a working Air Force base. We found, I don't know what you call them, but they were tunnel-like. We'd climb down metal rebar ladders into these square tunnels.
Are those the manholes that we're talking about? These are different?
Yeah. These are cement square with metal lids.
And those are now sealed over?
Yes. Yeah, I've heard they were filled with cement.
But there are tunnels under Camp Hero?
Yes.
We start to make our way through these tunnels. They quickly get lower, narrower, and harder to navigate, with no end in sight.
Well, we can get through here.
Yeah, we can get through. Watch our heads.
Yeah.
A lot of cobwebs out here.
A lot of cobwebs, and just keep going. Turns around to the right. Oh, great.
This could go on forever.
Okay. Come on up here and take a look at this.
We finally get to a point where it is no longer possible for 2 people to keep moving forward.
He's gone ahead a little bit to see exactly how far it really goes. I can't believe it goes this far. Neither of us can figure out why you would have a crawl space of this length under this building. Richard, can you hear me?
My way back here. I couldn't find the end of it. I'm here. It's very, very long. And one end is a dead end, but then it branches off and it goes into several different directions. I could imagine people getting temporarily lost down there anyway.
I think as far as either of us goes right now.
I think so, yeah.
These seemingly never-ending tunnels add another dimension to the Montauk mystery and keep the story alive.
We may never know the truth about the Montauk Project or about what may have taken place here at Camp Hero. What we do know, of course, is that military bases here in the U.S. and around the world are ideal places to hide classified projects.
And that's exactly where we're headed next, to 2 of the most secretive, heavily guarded military bases in the country. Our first stop is Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Could the potential evidence we uncover there prove once and for all the base has been engaged in a cover-up of alien life?
He says, forget you ever seen this, forget you ever worked on it, don't talk about it.
And later, we'll head for the skies in an effort to get the closest look possible at Area 51, where alien technology and life is said to be stashed away. All this when Inside Secret Government Warehouses continues. Our search for the truth about secret government warehouses has taken us on a global journey. We've been to Montauk, New York to explore allegations of mind control and time travel experiments underneath an abandoned military base. And we've traveled across the Atlantic to delve into the depths of the Vatican's secret archives in search of answers to age-old mysteries. As our investigation deepens, we check in at our nation's capital, where we are still looking for answers and access.
We made that request via fax 4 weeks ago, and we haven't heard anything back. We would love an opportunity to go to the facility and tour it.
For weeks, we've been calling the Air Force requesting permission to get inside Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and what may be the most secure military base in the United States, the legendary Area 51.
Oh, you've never allowed visitors out there?
After phone calls to multiple government agencies, we finally reach an Air Force representative who agrees to review our request one more time.
Thank you so much. I would appreciate that.
The Pentagon's reluctance to let us into these military bases only fuels our curiosity. Could they be hiding more than military secrets inside? And are there other bases, or even warehouses like the one depicted in the sci-fi series Warehouse 13 that we don't even know about?
And that is exactly what we do here. Take the unexplained, and we just safely tuck it away in this supersized Pandora's box.
Change the environment.
Washington insider John Podesta says the idea of a central warehouse is a myth.
There's, of course, not one single place that classified information is distributed across the country and across the globe.
Could there be military bases we don't know about? Could there be places underground?
Well, if we don't know about it, how do we know?
Officials at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base decline our request for an interview. But we are able to speak with Congressman Michael Turner, who represents the Dayton, Ohio district where the base is located.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is known as the largest Air Force base in the world. It has over 20,000 people who work inside the fence, largely in research and development. It has been involved in every plane for the military, starting with the Wright brothers plane, going straight through to stealth.
Turner acknowledges Wright-Pat's classified research has inspired theories about extraterrestrial technology stored on base.
Whenever you have a base, it's 8,000 acres and only 10 planes. There's a lot of research and development that's going on, and there's a lot of speculation.
Speculation fueled in part by Wright-Pat's role in the infamous Roswell incident of 1947. The government has issued at least 4 different official explanations about what actually crashed in the New Mexico desert. And while theories may vary, certain facts are indisputable. A declassified FBI memo dated July 8, 1947, indicates the wreckage purporting to be a flying disc was secretly flown 1,500 miles to Wright Field by special plane for examination. After the Roswell incident, Wright-Pat became home to Project Blue Book, an official government investigation into UFOs.
Well, I think people who were interested in UFOs certainly looked to the Air Force to have some kind of greater knowledge about what had occurred than merely those who had witnessed them and what their beliefs might have been.
The Air Force investigated more than 12,600 UFO sightings. 700 of them remained unexplained when the government terminated the project in 1969. UFO author Donald Schmidt says Blue Book was flawed from the start.
The true hardcore cases were going upstairs, we're going above Blue Book to something that we'll never know about.
Retired Air Force Captain Robert Collins spent 22 years in the military, 6 of them at Wright-Pat.
I had a top secret SCI, or Special Compartment and Information Clearance.
Honorably discharged in 1988, Collins says he has come forward because he wants the military to stop covering up the secret UFO research he believes it has been conducting at Wright-Pat for decades.
It It deals with all the black programs that the Air Force has, including all the classified, super secret reverse engineering programs for UFOs.
There are witnesses who support Collins' claim and say they had access to extraterrestrial evidence on the base. According to one account, officials at Wright-Patt revealed the Roswell wreckage to an elite group of men from the prestigious Air War College who were sent there on assignment. Among them was a lieutenant colonel named Marion Magruder.
He said they were trying to determine whether they were going to make public something that had recently happened.
A fighter pilot in the Second World War, Magruder, known by his combat moniker Black Mac, was no stranger to military operations. But this mission was unlike any other. It was so highly classified, he only revealed it to his family 50 years later when he was dying.
He said, I want to tell you that we're not alone.
Magruder spoke vividly of a shocking encounter with an extraterrestrial being.
I had quite a bit of empathy for him, and he said he was more humanoid than alien, but he had a much larger head, larger eyes, long, slender arms, thin little legs. He appeared to my father to be very sad.
Magruder struggled silently with what he saw until the last days of his life.
My father said we killed him because of the experiments and stuff. That had an incredible impact upon him.
And it may be that his memories weren't all that haunted him.
There would be some people come to visit him to discuss that situation with him. Whoever it was, and I never knew who it was very interested in making sure that secret was kept.
The Air Force referred us to its 1985 fact sheet that addresses persistent UFO rumors. It says there are not now, nor ever have been, any extraterrestrial visitors or equipment on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Yet, over the years, questions have grown, suspicions sparked by testimony from former employees, including Robert Collins, who says underground facilities are strategically hidden throughout the base.
Never find it unless you knew where to look.
Coming up, reports of a complex labyrinth deep underneath Wright-Patt. And physical evidence allegedly from the base that may prove a government cover-up of alien life.
I'm too old to worry about my reputation.
And later, travel with us to the Nevada desert for an unprecedented investigation into Area 51.
If the public ever really knew what happened at Area 51, they'd want to burn the place down.
All this and more when Inside Secret Government Warehouses continues. We've come to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio to investigate the truth about what may be hidden inside. Is this base ground zero in a government conspiracy to cover up evidence of alien life? Many UFO researchers believe so.
They have the proof. They have the physical evidence. To this day, everything still points to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
According to retired Air Force Captain Robert Collins,
the next building is 620.
These civil engineering drawings show entrances to a massive complex of tunnels and vaults located under the base,
which leads to a set of stairs.
Combining data from 25 years of research with information leaked to him by unnamed sources, Collins describes what he believes is under the surface.
All these tunnels and vaults are completely independent of anything else in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. 60 feet down, below ground. And then there's a limestone rock bed, which is anywhere from 10 to 15 feet thick. So you may be as far down as 70 feet. You're looking at probably the size of a couple football fields at least in length. There's roughly 4 big vaults. They're about 100 by 100 feet in size. They got carpeting on the floor of the tunnels, and you could drive a pickup truck through them.
Collins says the most remarkable secret isn't the underground complex itself. It's what he says the Air Force was and possibly still is hiding inside.
The things that were stored in these vaults were, of course, bodies, alien bodies. All the cryogenic equipment used to support and maintain and preserve those bodies, and medical examination tables and biological testing equipment.
The Air Force denied our request for an interview with a representative from the base. But local Congressman Michael Turner says plenty of classified information is at Wright-Patt, and it's all with good reason.
A lot of the things that are going on at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base are secrets that need to be protected. There are things that are in development, research that we're doing, possibly for capabilities for us in the future, or even how we're looking at our potential adversaries.
A statement issued to us by the base says the evolution of virtually every Air Force aircraft flying today can be traced back to Wright-Patt. They tell us current developments include material that can sense and then heal its own cracks, as well as bird and insect-sized aircraft capable of swarming. One of the few reporters allowed on base to investigate the legends of UFOs at Wright-Patt is Emmy Award-winning newsman Carl Day.
An awful lot of unanswered questions, and tonight we're going to try and sort out facts from fiction.
They said, well, come on in and look and see if you find anything. This was at the invitation of the Air Force.
Aware of reports about underground chambers, Day asked to be escorted to the lowest level of Building 620.
The tunnel that I went through was certainly not big enough to drive a truck through, and we had to duck out of these tunnels because they were very low.
While Day didn't find hidden tunnels, he uncovered something even more shocking.
It was a small mandible, which is the lower jaw of something.
In the course of his reporting, Day met a dental technician from a Veterans Affairs hospital 15 miles outside of Wright-Patt, who said he had worked on a strange impression of a mandible brought from the base. At the time, the man was so afraid to tell his story that he didn't reveal his name or face.
Never seen anything like this before in human or animal. Neither one.
Today, at 81 years old, John Musgrove speaks undisguised for the first time.
I'm not going to be around too many more years, and I'd like for this story to be out, you know, because I don't think the federal government is ever going to come out and say, yes, there are aliens and they are visiting us.
Musgrove says that in October of 1979, two uniformed men he recognized as officers from Wright-Patt came to the VA hospital to obtain a cast of a dental impression.
There was no blood and saliva. It was just dry as a bone. And I noticed right then and there I had something unusual. I thought to myself, my God, what have I got here?
When Musgrove finished the assignment, his boss made it clear not to speak of what he saw ever again.
He raised his hand up like this with the impression, looked at me and crushed it and threw it into the trash. And that's when he says, forget you ever seen this, forget you ever worked on it, don't talk about it.
The impression was broken, but Musgrove dug the pieces out of the trash and put it back together so he could duplicate the cast. Convinced the mandible came from a skeleton stored at Wright-Patt, Musgrove gave a copy of the cast to Carl Day to investigate. But the case went cold when nobody Day showed it to could identify its origin.
I didn't want anything to happen to it, just in case. So it's in a safe deposit box. And I've got the key.
Day agreed to retrieve the mandible from his personal repository.
There it is.
This is the first time it's ever been shown on national television.
I would love to know if this is indeed representative of true aliens' lower jawbone.
You can imagine how small the head must have been.
30 years after the cast was made, pressing questions remain.
Could this be the smoking gun that we're all looking for? And final proof that indeed we're being visited by aliens?
It proves one thing. There's something other than human and animal.
Coming up, does this mandible hold the secret to extraterrestrial life?
A leading dental anthropologist weighs in. And that's not even close.
Right.
But first, join us in the Nevada desert. Doesn't it make you wonder what's in there that has to be so secret that they'd kill? As we examine exclusive video that may expose what happens inside the most secretive military base in the United States. When Inside Secret Government Warehouses continues. Our global journey leads us to one of the most mysterious military facilities on Earth. The legendary Area 51.
Area 51 is a black facility, which means it was created to deny its very existence.
You can't even approach it. It's so heavily guarded. So it's really hard to know exactly what the government is doing.
Government secrecy surrounding Area 51 has made the base so notorious that it's even depicted in blockbuster movies like Independence Day. In the film, Area 51 is portrayed as a massive UFO research complex, complete with flying saucers and alien bodies. After repeated requests for access to Area 51 or a representative, we're turned down.
May I ask why we're being denied access?
The Air Force issued a statement saying the area is used for testing and training for operations critical to the effectiveness of U.S. military forces and the security of the United States. And some specific activities and operations, both past and present, remain classified and cannot be discussed. Undeterred, we hit the road to find out as much as we can without breaking the law.
I'm now driving through the Nevada desert a couple hours north of Las Vegas, heading to the legendary Area 51, a place that perhaps holds some of this country's biggest, deepest military secrets. And what exactly goes on there has been the source of a lot of speculation.
As local tourism shows, most of the speculation centers on extraterrestrial projects, reports of warehouses dug deep into the mountainside.
There's some sort of earth-moving activity taking place in that area.
Where some claim scientists are conducting reverse engineering on alien spacecraft.
It was hundreds of thousands of years ahead of our technology.
And most shocking of all, potential evidence that may confirm extraterrestrials exist and may have been held on the base. All claims we'll look into in the course of our investigation here. Area 51 has been veiled in secrecy since its inception. Established in 1955 as a covert test site for the U-2 spy plane, its purpose was to hide military projects.
It was a place that was preoccupied with maintaining total secrecy. And secrecy then became its mission.
The remote desert location, labeled number 51 on this 1950s map, seemed to be the perfect place for a black facility. But as the base infrastructure and activity grew, information began to leak out.
The U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 spy plane, various stealth aircraft were all tested at this facility. And everything that we can see from the ground and the air indicates that this base is for aircraft testing.
Despite full-scale Air Force operations on site, the government refused to acknowledge its existence. Not just initially, but for 40 years. Area 51 investigator and guide Glenn Campbell has been studying the facility since the early 90s.
It was sort of like going to a drive-in movie. You could drive up and look down on the secret base that the government didn't acknowledge.
I'm going to meet up with Glenn Campbell. Glenn and I first met up 16 years ago when I came out to this same desert trying to get answers about Area 51.
This viewpoint we're heading to is Freedom Ridge.
In this report I did back in 1994, we simply drove up a nearby peak and the entire facility was revealed. From our mountain vantage point, Dreamland is a collection of unremarkable buildings. Today, the military has expanded control over land around the base.
A long time.
So getting a good view won't be as easy.
What will we be able to see today?
Well, from the ground, we're not going to be able to see much.
And I know you brought some
so we have
satellite photos.
Increasingly better satellite imagery over the years. Some of this stuff is incredibly good. Look at these runways and things. It's still the best way to see it is from overhead.
Yeah, the security of this place is part of the intrigue. That's what continues to raise the level of curiosity and even, conspiracy theories.
The security here is intense.
Look around. It's a good place to hide.
It's a damn fine place to hide.
Area 51 first gained public attention in the late 80s with an explosive plane made by a physicist named Bob Lazar. He said he'd been working on a top-secret project to reverse engineer alien spacecraft at a classified location near the base.
He says, no, John. He said, I was in it. I touched it. It's real. It's E.T. It's nothing that we could have produced.
Bob Lazar declined our request to be interviewed for this program, but referred us to his good friend John Lear, a retired pilot who flew missions for the CIA.
I was the guy that exposed Area 51.
Lear says he pushed Lazar to do a television interview revealing the government cover-up of alien technology.
He said, yeah, just as long as I do it in shadow.
The interview took place at Lear's home, and he captured the setup in this exclusive video.
Taking pictures. That's Bob. That's his wife.
In the interview, Lazar claims to have worked on flying saucers in a secret facility called S4. So covert, it's camouflaged by a mountain south of Area 51. John Lear describes S4 as Lazar explained it to him.
S4 is an underground base. It just looks like a slope of a mountain, but actually they're hangar doors, and they slide up. So it looks like just part of the mountain is sliding up. And it would lead into a laboratory, and there was a set of hangars there. 9 hangars all together, and there was a flying saucer in each different one of them, and they were all different.
Right, straight down the road.
If the reports of flying saucers and reverse engineering are true, then could the government be using Area 51 as a warehouse for alien technology?